Lesson 4-6, one-step division inequalities. So the multiplication property of inequality is used to solve a division inequality. So that property says if A is less than B, then A times C is still going to be less than B times C when C is positive. If A is less than B, then A times a negative C is going to be greater than B times negative C when C is negative. And the reason why you have to flip that symbol is because if A was less than B, and so if we said, let's just choose A is 4 and B is 5, if I multiply this side by a -1 and this by a -1, I now have -4 and this says -5. Well, -4 is now greater than -5 because it's closer to 0. It's to the right of -4. So that means it makes it bigger. So that's why we have to flip the symbol. Again, you undo the operations by using the inverse of what they're showing you. So undoing division, you use multiplication. And just a reminder, you use open circles on the line graph when using less than or greater than because the solution is not part of the endpoint is not part of the solution. But if it's a closed circle, then you're going to use a closed circle for less than or equal to or greater than or equal to because the endpoint is part of the solution set. So our first example, over a 9-month period, Jane's stocks showed a loss of at least $16 per month. How much might the total loss in Jane's stocks be for that 9-month period? So the opposite of dividing by 9, we're going to multiply by 9 on both sides. And t is going to be greater than or equal to 9 times 16. 6 times 9 is 54. Carry the 5. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 4, or plus 5 is 14. So $144. So at least $144 her stocks would have shown a loss. Next, solve and graph here. The opposite of dividing by -4 is multiply by -4. So I do that on both sides. Because I'm dividing by a negative or multiplying by a negative, I flip the symbol. C is greater than or equal to -8. So on a number line, we got -8 here. Open circle at -8. Greater than means going to the right. Here, this is actually 2 halves because of common denominator. So 2 halves minus 1/2 is 1/2 x. So this is really going to be x divided by 2 is less than 8. The opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. I do that on both sides, and I have x is less than 16. On a number line, you got 16 here. Open circle at 16, less than means going to the left. Next, I have n divided by -2 is greater than or equal to -9 plus 6. This right here is going to be a -3. So the opposite of divided by -2 is multiplied by -2. So if I do that on both sides, I now have n is less than or equal to a positive 6. I flipped the symbol because I am multiplying by a negative number. So now if I graph it, I got 6 here. Open circle at 6. Has to be less than, so it goes to the left. Next, the opposite of dividing by 6 is multiplying by 6. Do that on both sides. P is going to be greater than or equal to a -30. On a number line, got -30 here. Got a filled in circle because it can equal -30. Greater than means going to the right. Next, we got to multiply by -25. And I have t is greater than because I'm multiplying by a negative. So I'll grab our calculator here. We got -25 times a -0.4 gives us 10. So let's be a positive 10. On a number line, we got 10 here. Open circle, greater than means going to the right. Next, this is 6/3. So if I write this as 6/3 x minus 5/3, is 1/3. So this is be x over 3 is less than or equal to -3 multiplied by 3 on both sides. X is going to be less than or equal to a -9. We got -9 here. Filled in circle at -9. Less than means goes to the left. And our last one. 5 is greater than y divided by 2 minus 1. So again, this is 2 over 2y because 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 1 minus 2 is -2. So it's going to be y over -2 greater than, so 5 is greater than that. So if I multiply this by -2, this side by -2, I now have -10 is less than y. Or think of it as y is greater than -10. And if I graph it, I have an open circle at -10, has to be greater than going to the right. So if I pick a number bigger than -10, I would choose 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 is bigger than 0, so I know my solution is correct. So that is our lesson on one-step division inequalities.